Дорогие друзья, рад приветствовать.
Comrades, officers, dear friends, I am pleased to welcome you all and congratulate you on a milestone, a truly significant event in your lives. You have successfully completed your studies at military academies, higher education institutions of the Defense Ministry, the Emergency Situations Ministry, law enforcement agencies and special services, and received the highest marks on your final examinations. You have shown excellent knowledge of specialized training and mastery of the most modern equipment. I am confident that such a solid professional foundation will enable you to address the most complex and pressing issues, serving Russia and our people with dignity. On this special day, you and I are gathered in the St. George Hall of the Moscow Kremlin. This majestic pantheon of Russian military glory reminds us of the legendary battles and heroes of 1812, serving as an inspiring example of the strength and indomitable spirit of many generations of defenders of the fatherland. A new stage of your service begins in the year of the 80th anniversary of the great victory. Today, we are also fighting for our future. And the participants of the special military operation, all our soldiers, are direct heirs of the heroes of the great patriotic war, of all generations of defenders of millennia-old Russia. Always remember that you continue the great deed of your great-grandfathers, grandfathers, fathers, their example of loyalty to the fatherland, truth and justice, a reliable, enduring moral guide. And, looking up to it, I am confident that you will write new glorious pages in the history of our armed forces, law enforcement agencies and special services. Dear friends, the current international situation is changing dynamically. We see how the situation in the Middle East has sharply escalated. Extra-regional powers are also being drawn into the conflict. All of this brings the world to a very dangerous line. We cannot but be concerned that several Western politicians continue to hatch plans to inflict a strategic defeat on Russia. History does not teach them anything. They continue to send arms and money to the current regime in Kiev and to provide military, technical and intelligence support, in fact, as direct participants in the conflict. We also know that at the next NATO summit, it is planned to announce the beginning of a large-scale program to further increase the alliance's capabilities. For its implementation, the military budgets of NATO countries will be increased. Meanwhile, the bloc's members are spending more on military purposes than all the countries of the world combined. This makes it clear who really provokes global militarization and an arms race. Justifying their plans, the alliance leadership is once again talking about some threat from Russia, about our possible invasion of Europe. They have invented this scary story for themselves and repeat it year after year to deceive their people and pull money out of them. However, here again we are faced with the usual and unapologetic lies. Given the growing geopolitical tensions, we will continue to take appropriate measures to strengthen the security of Russia and our allies and to develop our armed forces as a guarantee of Russia's sovereign and independent development. Improving the combat capabilities of all types of armed forces and branches of the armed forces remains an urgent task. For example, in connection with the increased role of unmanned aerial vehicles in modern conflicts, a new branch of the armed forces is being formed, the Unmanned Systems Troops. This year, we will complete the entire set of organizational measures to form units and formations of the Moscow and Leningrad military districts. In addition, the Marine Infantry Brigades will be deployed into divisions. Their striking power and combat capabilities will increase qualitatively. As before, one of the priority areas is the technical modernization of the Army and Navy. First of all, within a new large-scale and long-term state armament program, we will pay special attention here to our nuclear triad. For example, the strategic missile forces will be supplied with modern Yar systems, while the aviation component of the strategic nuclear forces will be supplemented by modernized Tu-160M missile carriers as early as this year. In addition, mass production of the latest medium-range missile system, Oreshnik, which has proved itself very well in combat conditions, is being deployed. And the Navy will include new ships and submarines equipped with the latest generation of precision weapons. We will continue to consistently raise the authority and social status of the officer corps. You are the main pillar of our armed forces and are called upon to serve as a model of professionalism and military honor for your colleagues and subordinates, discipline and decent, caring attitude to the personnel and fellow soldiers. Dear comrades, I welcome in this hall the officers who will soon join the personnel of the Federal Security Service and the Interior Ministry, the Russian Federal Guard, the Emergency Situations Ministry, the Federal Security Service, the Investigative Committee, the Military Prosecutor's Office, and all of them. We are all well aware that the reliable defense of the country against internal and external threats requires clear coordination of law enforcement agencies and special services, and other power structures. Your maximum focus is on solving key tasks. These include combating attempts to destabilize the socio-political situation and terrorism, fighting crime and corruption, strengthening public order, and promptly dealing with the consequences of natural disasters. And, of course, the assistance you provide to servicemen in carrying out a special military operation is indispensable. I am convinced that you are well aware of the scale and nature of the tasks at hand and will do everything necessary to solve them reliably. Dear friends, together we will continue to work on improving the armed forces, increasing the efficiency of all structures responsible for the security of the country. I am confident that you will fulfill your duties responsibly and with high dedication, and faithfully and devotedly serve Russia and our people. I wish you and all graduates of 2025 success, health and well-being to your mentors, relatives and friends.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.